To His Excellency Moussa Faki, a round of applause for the first handing over. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and now in the possession of His Excellency Moussa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, is the key to the AfCFTA Secretariat.
When the African Union, AU, convened an extraordinary summit in Kigali, the capital of the Republic of Rwanda, on 21st March 2018, to adopt and sign the legal instruments for the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA. There were many who did not believe African countries were ready to meet the required minimum threshold of 22 member state ratifications needed for the AfCFTA to come into effect. On 30th May 2019, a year later, after the minimum threshold was met, with Ghana and Kenya being the first to deposit on the same day their instruments of ratification with the AU Commission, the operational phase of the AfCFTA was launched as the agreement had become effective. A little over a month after this seminal event, we gathered in Niamey, capital of the Republic of Niger, on 7th July 2019, at the 12th extraordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the AU, where Ghana was selected by her peers to play host to the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Indeed, for a country generally acknowledged as the pioneer of modern Pan-Africanism, under the dynamic leadership of our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, a country whose people made great sacrifices to spearhead the struggle for the liberation of the African continent from colonialism, imperialism, and the racist system of apartheid. This is the first time in our 63 years of nationhood and in the 57 years of the founding of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, the precursor to the AU, that we have the responsibility and privilege of hosting an important Pan-African institution. So today is an auspicious day for Ghana, and on behalf of the Ghanaian people and their government, I express our deep appreciation once again to the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the AU for its decision. We are now the world's largest free trade area since the formation of the World Trade Organization, and we must make it count. Covering a market of 1.2 billion people, with a combined GDP of some 3 trillion United States dollars, across the 54 member states of the AU that have signed up to the agreement, it will provide the vehicle for us to trade among ourselves in a more modern and sophisticated manner. It will offer a huge opportunity to exploit the abundant wealth and resources of our great continent for the benefit of all our people. And it will give us protection in how to deal with other trading blocs. So I urge member states to put in an extra effort to conclude all outstanding implementation issues for their adoption by the AU Assembly in the next extraordinary summit, scheduled for December 2020, to pave way for the smooth commencement of trading from 1st January 2021.
And now may I kindly request that you remain on stage, Mr. President, and may I ask that you be joined by the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Moussa Faki, for the official commissioning and handing over of the AfCFTA Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President will hand over, first of all, a scroll to His Excellency Moussa Faki. A round of applause for the first handing over. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and now in the possession of His Excellency Moussa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, is the key to the AfCFTA Secretariat, the symbolic key, if I may put it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now allow His Excellency Moussa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, to share a few words.
I wish to salute his steadfast leadership in making the strong and legitimate case for the Secretariat to be hosted here in Ghana. This included contributing financial resources to ensure this important symbol of our union is ready today. Thank you, Your Excellency. I also wish to pay special tribute to President Issoufou Mahamadou of Niger and champion of the flagship AfCFTA project. His strong and sustained advocacy oversaw the fastest ratification and entry in force of an AU instrument, second only to that of the AU Constitutive Act. Merci, Monsieur le Président. Let me now conclude with the words of Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, "The task ahead is great indeed. Heavy is the responsibility, and yet it is a noble and glorious challenge. A challenge which calls for the courage to believe, the courage to dare, the courage to do, the courage to fight, the courage to achieve." I thank you for your attention.
For those of you who don't know what the Organization of African Unity is all about, OAU, this is when all the African heads of states, the Pan-African leaders, met in Addis Ababa in 1963 at the invitation of Emperor Haile Selassie to put an end to the divisions that were imposed upon us by the Berlin Conference. Berlin Conference is when they chopped up our Africa into the tiny little economies that we are today as Africa. The economies that clearly cannot survive on their own. It was the best way to implement the rule of divide and conquer. So 1963, our Pan-African leaders tried to accomplish the unity that Africa needs, the coming together of Africa, where Africa must go to the world stage as Africa, not as 55 tiny little countries. It has taken us 56 years to come to where Africa has finally woken up and realized that our sheer survival depends in our unity. So it may have taken us 56 years from 1963 to this year, but nonetheless, better less than ever. Finally, the African heads of states marched last year. 54 countries signed to say this is something we must do. Out of the 54 countries, we only needed 22 countries to ratify. Exactly 13 months from when the heads of states agreed on this decision, which was March of 2018, the 22nd ratification was deposited to the African Union. And exactly 30 days after the 22nd ratification was deposited, the African Continental Free Trade Area was in force. July 7 this year, the African heads of states officially launched the African Continental Free Trade Area, meaning they officially launched a program that Africa can now go to the world stage as the continent and negotiating on the world stage as the continent. You see, you got to understand that as 55 individual African countries, we are not a heavyweight. We are not even a middleweight boxer. We are not even lightweight. We are wannabe boxers. That's why we have been losing on the world stage all these centuries. With the African Continental Free Trade Area, we are going to the world stage as Africa, the continent. We are a heavyweight. We belong with the heavyweight boxers such as China, such as the United States, such as the European Union, such as India. We are a heavyweight as a united front of one Mother Africa. It has taken us 700 years since the first colonizers came to Africa. It has taken us this long to finally realize that's the only way for Africa to truly take its position on the world stage is when we waltz onto the world stage as a united front of one Mother Africa, speaking with one voice, one continent, one Africa. That's what the African Continental Free Trade Area is. It is the completion of the unfinished business of the Organization of African Unity. It is the unfinished business of our Pan-African fathers. Africa, the sleeping giant, is rising. Africa, the origin of humanity, is rising. Africa, the continent with everything that the world would ever need. Africa, the continent that is the envy of all other continents and all other countries in the world. It is now rising. Africa is going to speak with one voice, and the African Continental Free Trade Area is how we speak with one voice.
Ghana is on the go. We are open for business.
We have signaled to the world that we want to come together, and the business community is going to join us in the advocacy program. The parliamentarians are going to join us. The civil society organizations are also going on. So Africa at large is committed.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation.